In this interview, I get to chat with the international hairstylist Ryoji Imaizumi. He's Japanese born and lives in Tokyo for the last 10 years. His career has taken him all over the world, working in New York, Paris, London, and many other places. His work has featured in some of the top magazines internationally. We also get the opportunity to chat with him about the 2 classes he's presented for us on Hairdressing Live. Hope you enjoy this interview. So, Ryoji, I'm thrilled to have you here. It's been a bit of a journey over the last couple of weeks, a month maybe.
Yes, it was.
Did you enjoy your time in Dublin?
Yeah, sure. I liked it more, I've listened to Seagull, like I told you already. But people told me like Dublin, they don't have good food. And I thought, when you told me, take me to the restaurant, it was so great. That was one of the best food I ever ate. And I only had a two nights, but I didn't have any bad food at all, like what they told me I would have. And I just liked the weather, it's so strange, like raining all of a sudden, sunny all of a sudden. I just had a great time. So
that seems to be the Irish summer at the moment. There's something you took away from Ireland was a nice whiskey, wasn't it? A Jameson.
Yeah. Jameson, I'm still drinking now. Jameson, like I'm hooked on the Jameson, like big time.
Just so everybody knows, it's nighttime in Japan right now, isn't it? And it's morning time in Ireland.
Yes, it's past 6. It's a 6:30. It's 6:35 now. After past 6, I get to drink. Before that, I don't drink. So after 6 is my time that I can drink a Jameson.
Very good. Listen, Ryoji, tell me or tell our viewers a little bit about you, your background. How did you get into hairdressing? I want to go back to the origin of you starting your career.
Okay. I moved to New York 1996. Well, before that, I used to live in Arizona, and I went to high school there and all that. But I was like a hip hop dancing, and this didn't do anything for me, but getting respect at the club. It doesn't give me any money or nothing, but it was my hobby, and I just couldn't do it forever. Just playing around like that. So I was I went to after graduate high school. My mother kind of made me go to why don't you do like a hairdressing or hair cutting? So I went to like a cosmetology college, which is like getting licensed in the US. Then after I got it, I was still dancing and playing around till 1996. I really decided maybe I cannot do dancing anymore, so I moved to New York, and maybe I could learn how to do a better, hair cutting. So I moved to 2 things. I went to Joao de Boré, which is like a very classic, like a very rich but very old clientele. Client was like 60, more up than 65. Like very rich lady, old lady, but they need to get a hairdress. Even they don't even wash hair. They go to hair salon to get a wash, and they get a hairstyle and all that. So, but this salon, I could never become a hairstylist. They told me, you have to have a clientele to become a hairstylist, which is impossible because I was assisting and I don't have any clientele. And so, the stylist I was assisting, her name is Marilyn. She told me, Ryoji, I think you're you're young and you have funky feeling and you should go to Bumble. So then I quit this salon. I stayed 1 year and a half because they told me you should finish you should quit after Christmas because they give me a lot of tips. You know what I mean? In New York. So I should get all the money as possible. Then go to Bumble. So I listened to it. So I finished after like a Christmas. Next year I moved to Bumble. Then I moved to Bumble. Then they took me in as a hairstyling assistant. Of course, I had to start it there as assistant. Then after that, and after 6 months or so, like Michael Gordon, he was the former owner of Bumble at that time. He's the founder and the creator of the Bumble salon. He sold it, and it's no longer his. But he liked me somehow. I don't know why he liked me. He started giving me like comme des garçons pants. He was short like me, same height. So he was giving me clothes he doesn't wear. And I was like, oh my God, that's cool. And I didn't have money and I was assistant. So he gave me like comme des garçons pants and nice like brand clothes he doesn't wear anymore. And he started taking me to his office and he said, Ryoji, like we have like a editorial stylist we hiring and they created for Bumble and they want to assist this kind of job. And he sent me like a fashion show, like that's when I met Laurent Philippon. Laurent. And also, they didn't have only Laurent, they had a Ward. In that time, they had a Michael Body and Dennis and even Eugene they had at that time. So they started sending me like, assisting. I was a Bumble assistant, but they used to send me a lot of time, like when they come to New York, like Laurent or Dennis and Michael Michael Body was living in New York, but Eugene or Laurent, they were living in Europe at that time, but they would come to New York a lot to shoot and also fashion show and stuff like that. So I started meeting these people. Then when I saw Laurent's shooting and they're like models and doing some creative hair, beautiful models and creative and fashion shooting and photographer and stylist. I was shocked. Oh my God, this job, what a job this is. What kind of job this is? I could never imagine. I just, oh my God, this is what I want to do. So I never made it into hairstylist and hair salon ever. I was assistant, but I straight away when I saw this, oh my God, this is what I really want to do. So ever since that, I just kind of found my the job of my life, So this is what I wanted to do, and this is what I love, and this is what I'm inspired to. So,
what age were you then?
I was, oh my God, I don't remember exactly, but maybe I was like 26, 25, 26. 1998 or so. So yeah.
So at this stage, can I just get some perspective? You were not qualified, so you got into the salon, in the hairdressing world at what age? About 24 maybe at this stage?
No, first I got into, it was around 22, I think.
22, okay. Before that you were the dancer, as you were describing.
Yes. But I stopped already, because when I moved to New York, I went to club a little bit, but I used to have a dreadlock, and I shaved my head, and I just wanted to be like a fresh. Then I was very stuck on the dreadlock because I love like a hip hop feeling, but it's not for my hair, But I stick with it like 6 years, so until this hair I found, I could never found like what's the best hair for me. Besides dreads, I could never found it.
At this stage, so you never became a qualified stylist, so for instance, a behind the chair stylist.
Yes.
And you got the doors open for you all around the fashion world.
Yeah.
So you were assisting many amazing stylists at the time.
Yes, at that time. Yes.
Okay, so how did those doors open then? I mean, take me from, just to understand, because some of our viewers will obviously be seduced by this fashion world and wanting to get into it themselves. I mean, I'm just trying to paint a picture what happened from you then to go forward in your career.
Actually, the Michael, obviously they put me into it, and I didn't even know why. And even some other people say, I don't know why he chose you. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know why. Like, I was not good at. There were so much better hair assistants who could do better than me at the time. But I was something that, some other people told me, like, Michael, he was never good at, he was not the main person to do like a whole mainstream thing, but he's very good at finding some special people. And somehow he saw me something, and I don't know why. I didn't even see why. I didn't even know what I had, but he saw something that on me. It's just the magic, he just had a feeling like he's something, and that's just how he put me in it. And without that, I would never introduce to the fashion world. So I always thanks to Michael Gordon, like ever. He forced me into this and gave me opportunity.
Listen, can I ask you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
The day-to-day, I'm trying to understand Ryoji at that this 26-year-old boy who is basically putting himself in front of everything. Was it almost like, look, I'll do it, or was it?
Yeah.
I mean, the attitude, I believe, is very important to open up doors. Am I right in thinking? So
sure.
The Ryoji back then was like,
I guess I was dressing so crazy, like, I wanted to be so different somehow, like, I guess I had a very punk feeling of myself, the standout, I guess, young person, but very, I don't know. I mean, I don't have any more, not like that back then, but I guess when you're young, like, you just want something and you have a feeling, I guess God, it's just a feeling. I cannot explain it, but
okay. At the time, you were working with so many different amazing hairdressers. Some of the hairdressers that you've just mentioned are absolutely extraordinary. They've gone on to do loads of incredible things with their careers. Who for you was at that time in your life was very pinnacle in your, cultivating your own style? Which hairdresser really inspired you to kind of, at that stage, to take you forward?
Well, Laurent was the most closest person I fully assisted.
Okay.
So I guess my base of thinking and just of how important it is to have a basic is Laurent Philippon for me, that my base. But for me, I like more different things than Laurent, which I liked. I didn't assist full time, but like Eugene, for example, Eugene or Julian, this kind of stylist is like I was admired too. You know what I mean? They were doing something farther than like the basic of hair, and want to do like a so amazing thing, like so artistic. So I was attracted to this kind of work, like my personal. I was assisting Laurent, but I I wanted to go. What I liked was very extremely artistic way. That's I was like admired too. So I think this is for me is the most people who inspired me the most was those two that time.
They did inspire not just you, but I think they inspired the world of hairdressing over
Yeah,
many,
sure,
many years, decades.
of course, not only me.
The imagery was profound across multiple magazine covers and editorials, and I think, you know, presentations or education or inspiring aspects to the hairdressing industry, it's sort of very much filtered down, and everybody used a lot of their references. They had a profound effect on hairdressing.
Yeah,
I have to understand.
But also like what I was assisting Eugene for the shows at the year 2000, beginning of 2000. Even those people around it was so hairdressing people was so good. Like Davey was there. Like what other. I mean, there are so many people. I remember like. Amazing. Angelo, he was very good too. I mean, it was around that time. I was so younger, like my generation,
Yeah.
But they are like a big hairdresser now.
Massive hairdressers now. Yeah, absolutely. So did you work with Julian D for some time?
No, actually, I want to work with him, but there were. At that time, I was with a streeter in Paris, and they gave me like a meeting set up. But then I met Julian this, and I showed him my book, and he told me, he looked at my book. Oh, you're very creative, and yes, and who did you assist and all that at the show? Then I said, I'm assisting Laurent, and also I help Eugene at that time. Then after that, they told me they didn't want to work with me. Oh, okay. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. So I guess there were like a conflict of me assisting Eugene at that time at the show. He didn't like it. So okay. I could never assist Julian for the show.
So obviously there's a lot of hairstylists going for the same jobs or similar jobs, and can become
they're like a competition, for feeding of, what I mean. So I say, what can I do? I didn't want to lie, So I was to be honest of what I was doing, so I could never do.
Yeah. Look, tell me.
Yeah.
I always believe there's many inspirations that come in many different forms, but you traveled an awful lot. I mean, you're from Japan, you lived in New York. What did that do for your career? Because, I mean, there's lots of cities around the world that draw down on many, many inspirational, but working, in the hub of creativity, I mean, you're working in New York and lots of creative work going on. What did that do for you, do you believe? I
think it was good for me, to travel different city and different thing, because every city has different vibes. And even hairdresser vibes and what they want is different. So every city, when I meet like a hair artist, they're hungry, but they're a different way of hungry. So I guess I get to see like a New York way of hunger, or Paris way, in Tokyo. I think the all mixture of thing. But I always every city I go to, like first I was in Tokyo. I wanted to be in the US, so I went to US, and I got a US feeling, and I got used to it. Then I moved to Paris. Then I knew what was in New York feeling. They don't have it there. But then, oh my God, I don't have this feeling of New York. But then Paris feeling, when I get used to it, then you get used to it. Then I moved back to New York. Then I miss Paris. Do you know what I mean? So I guess what you wish what you don't have, because in Paris I know there's a very inconvenient thing, but when you get used to it, it's good. But then move to New York, everything is there, but you don't have a, like a European way of artistic way anymore. Oh my God, I don't have anymore. Then I moved to Tokyo. Then okay, Tokyo is more convenient. You have everything, but then we have everything. I lost all the feeling of New York or Paris, you know. So, but you find what you can do in the city where you are. You know, you do maximum as possible on the city where you live. You know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
I think you cannot stay too long in the one city. Then you get too used to it. Do you know what I mean? So I think I feel like every 10 years I always tend to move to the different city. Like a 10 years, I think I can stay maximum. After 10 years, I stay, or over 10 years, there's some, it can, I can go crazy. Something can go wrong. So that is the feeling I'm having now.
Yeah, being in Tokyo, right?
Yeah, because it's over 10 years I stayed in Tokyo. So it's like, oh my God, this is like, I stayed too long. It's too comfortable, but it's not what I'm not. It's not good for me.
Why do you think that is?
Because you can absorb so much, but then up there's a certain level you don't absorb anymore. You don't have any more inspiration anymore, you know, in the one same country. So because you have, you know, in Japan it's very calm and very safe and everything, but it's very strict of everything, and you know you cannot, you know, you don't have exchange of mind speaking to people and exchanging that way of thinking and thought and dream, you know, those kind of things you cannot do here, you know, because they don't think like that. They don't want to think like that. So I think that it also conversation of people are different, you know.
Where do you believe
Yeah.
is the hub for you? That's like
I
you
feel now I'm feeling in Paris. You know, that's how I feel now. It's Paris is, you can go London, you can go Germany, you can go Italy. Everywhere is so much culture thing, but you can travel so easily. I just feel like that's just for me is a hub of city. That's how I feel is in Paris. That's how I feel. Yeah, because you know I didn't speak that much French, and I couldn't get into so much. I did 9 years, but I didn't speak. I didn't understand French in 7 years, because I could speak English and I could get away with it. But I didn't want to make an effort to try to understand French or not even trying to speak. I just did ignore it. But when I left, I just love it more. Like I liked everything about French language or way of their thinking and stuff like that. Because I told you before, like when I leave, I miss it. You know, because I don't have anymore. So I wanted to get back like how I had it.
Your
Yeah, sure.
creations have been unimaginable to the normal eye. Why do you think you are so different right now? I mean, if you go to Ryoji Imaizumi's page, his Instagram page, they kind of very much create a world of fantasy, creativity, and absolute extraordinary work. Why do you think it's so different? I mean, you look at so many hairdressers over the years, and you know you look at magazine work, you look at editorials, and just some things just absolute rise to the top. They just rise to the top and they just shine above everything else. And I love that. Where do you draw down on your inspiration for that type of work? Also, I'd like you to explain your creative process when creating those looks.
In Paris or New York, when I was hairstyling, and just, you know, if you become like an editor or hairstylist, if you want to listen to like a stylist, you have to listen to photographer. Is very important. You know, photographers is photographer and stylist is like your boss. They tell you, okay, I want this, and you just do this. You have to satisfy their photographer or stylist. So you can't just do like, okay, I want to do hair with this, like this material. I want to do material with this. They say like, what? No, I have this image. You do this. So I think the many hairstylists it's have to listen to editor or photographer, and of course that's just, if you don't listen to it, you're never gonna get booked. So you have to listen to it. So it's not your world. What I mean? It's the photographer and stylist world. You just have to help them. This is the job of hairstyling generally. So of course I do this as a professional. It's not that I go to commercial and okay, I do hair with, I'm gonna do hair with this, and that's it. That doesn't work like that. So I listen to it, but many of the creative shooting I do is I talk to a photographer and the stylist. I'm doing this. It is this kind of way of this concept I want to shoot. Do you want to do this? I propose. So I become like a main director. So then they let me. They respect me enough that I can do that.
Do you know, I always remember
You know what I mean?
Scolo described this very well. What you're saying is that he said it in such a way that we are fashion interpreters and hair creators. So we interpret what's in fashion, basically either driven by the stylist or the photographer or the clothes designer, and then we interpret, we create hair around that fashion. And that kind of really does summarize what you do. So you need to put yourself in that environment of creativity, right?
Exactly.
But how do you, so you've got to do that type of work in order for the stylist to book you, or the photographer to kind of book you, or the clothes designer to kind of go, hey, I love Ryoji's work and his vision and his stylist, that he carves a different approach with fashion rather than it being too safe. Am I right in thinking? If you're too safe, then you're only going to get safe designers or safe jobs or safe, and it puts you into a category or a box. But if you carve a different direction, a creative bubble, or being a bit more unthinkable and pushing boundaries a little bit further, then you're going to gravitate yourself to a different world.
Yes, absolutely. That's how I feel. So, but also, Instagram is helping me a lot because, people usually hair artists or makeup artists, they do like exhibition of hair and stuff like that. And back then, even they still do, but trying to create a book of hair like whatever. But they cost a lot of money, and you don't know if you can sell enough or not. So basically you invest to have that as a status, to have a book or exhibition I do exhibition. But I didn't believe in it. Actually it was very difficult to do this in Japan because you have to get every rights of models and photographers and all that stuff, and also costing a lot of money to make a book like that. So I just wanted to show that way of Instagram. It was a perfect tool for that. And also, when I found out the video, nobody was doing like a hair making video. I thought, oh my god, when I work with people and they don't want to, take a side, I do it for myself, at the same time. Then I show my way of showing it. You know what I mean? not just the photographer wants only this way or this way. Maybe I want to show here, so I just do with video all the way around and show it my way. So this is the how I not so many people. A very good hairstylist is still posting only like the photo of like a magazine, but they don't show like the process in making it. You have it's a little effort. Well, you have to have people who film for you all the time.
Yeah, like I always believe on shoots, you've got the view from a styling perspective where they get the clothes and the photographer kind of merge together, really, because they like capturing that whole image, and then you move a little bit closer where the hairstylist wants a little bit more of a close-up of the hair, and it's like more three-quarters, and then the beauty, the makeup, obviously zone in a bit more again. They get no clothes, and it's all about the beauty, it's about the face, and it's so there's
exactly.
four different people that are really looking through a different lens there. You really changed the way you worked recently, and I'd like to open that conversation about you were using dolls quite frequently, and you really changed the way you work things, and I love that. Again, it was very unique to you. Anytime I seen a video coming up and it had this model, this little doll that you were creating, I knew it was you straight away. It was like had your DNA all over it, your fingerprints, shall I say, all over it. Tell us a little bit about that. Why did you transform into that?
Well, I love doing models in doing hair. That was my job. But in Japan, doing like for example, test shooting, it costs money. Like even test shooting in a European model, we cannot use for zero money. They all cost in the studio cost, in the styling fee cost. It just costs money. So if you want to do 1 day of shooting, you pay like $1,000 for sure. Then I was like, oh my god, it's hard to book. Okay, I have to book photographer, I have to book a makeup artist, I have to book a model, but they even tell me a day before you can do or not. But studio, you have to book a week ago, and after 5 days they have a canceling fee. So even the last day, model cannot do it because it's test. Even you have to pay money. But even the test, we don't want the agency said no. I don't want to send you a model. You have to pay a studio for without shooting. Canceling fee you have to pay. It's very complicated to do any test or anything like that. Even you think about free thing. So oh my god, I'm fed up with that. So you know what? Let me buy a big dolls and just do it myself. And the doll doesn't complain. And just the cost of dolls, I just do whatever I want at my place here. I said, you know what? I'd rather do this show like this. My idea is the best. I just do it my dolls. Forget the agency.
And it's less hair to work with, so you can work a little bit quicker.
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very good.
So it's just the one idea. If you want to do it, you just do a little bit smaller scale. Then if you want to do models, you have bigger scales. So it's a good test. Just to start even a first thing. So that's how I started. Well, I'm gonna get a visa first, French visa. It's working visa. It's called talent visa. So I'm trying to go through this process of getting visas to have a working visa properly. Then I moved to Paris. Then I'm gonna start finding an agency, and I wanted to do all over again in Paris, like how I started. I go back like where I started, back to beginning, but my knowledge.
So if somebody is thinking of doing something similar to yourself, what advice would you give? So they're basically, you're packing up from Tokyo. You're coming a long way. You've got to get a place.
Yeah.
You don't have any future jobs at the moment, so you basically position yourself in Paris, and
Yeah.
you go door knocking. I know that's a hypothetical thing, but door knocking. How do you go door knocking? How does that look like for you? Knocking on doors to get jobs, basically.
I just wanted to break everything I had and start all over again like a newborn, you know. So it's exciting, but at the same time it's scary. But I think I need to challenge myself. That's just I always been challenging, and this is my challenge of my life. So yeah, it's not guaranteed. Nothing is there, but this is what I want to do.
So
risk, but
yeah. So what does that look like? I mean, you have to just go and find work out there, like, because it's very daunting now, right? But you have contacts.
Yeah.
You know, if you.
But now it's. Sure. Yeah, of course I do, but it's still like I would be like a beginner in Paris. At least I have a little bit advantage of Instagram, and it's not like the back then. Back then, photographer or stylist, it's very hard to reach. Like, you know, if you have a very famous photographer or even famous stylist, if you reach out, how I can reach out? You cannot call Vogue. Okay, hey, I want to meet you. It doesn't work like that, you know. But Instagram is easy. You know, you can send a DM. If they don't want to see it, of course it's still there. But at least I can do it without going through agency to agency calling. It's all the extra step you don't have anymore. So I think it's a little bit more open than 20 years ago.
Okay.
I just feel so. I just have to see how it goes and just go with the flow, you know, from there.
Where would you see our industry going now?
I just didn't. Like I told you, like I shut myself not to see like any inspiration for like 10, 15 years. So I didn't really look at anybody's work. But after, you know, I decided to break that because I wanted to know what's going on too in the outside. I think, you know, people evolved in a different way, and it's so funny, you know. By the way, that Laurent Philippon, you know, when I saw him last time, he told me this very interesting thing. You know, what he said was young hairdresser getting inspiration by old hairdressers work, but like amazing hairdressers work, but young hairdressers try to get inspiration, trying to do this, but they don't do very good, like a bad hair done, but that makes it modern. I just laughed. Do you know what I'm talking about? You know, very classic, amazing hair, but they are trying to do this, but they do it in a bad way. But on a picture, that makes it modern.
Yeah.
So I think the thing is moving in a way, like, you know, bad way of doing it is even modern. So it's like, wow, that's so funny. I just thought.
What advice would you give someone getting into the fashion world, like a young stylist now going? Can I ask you that question? Hairdresser stylist.
Yeah,
like, I mean, into the world of Ryoji, like starting off.
Well,
like,
I guess,
what
you know.
advice, or what advice? I could ask you the same question, as in, what advice would you give?
Yeah, because I think
20-year-old
sure.
Ryoji?
You know, you have a two-way of going. I don't know, because if you just do like if you listen to people and do like a very clean way, you might have a successful way, or even doing that, like listen to people doing a trendy way and just follow the trend. It's perfect. If you do that, you still have a good lane maybe. But me, I just did it my way. So I didn't follow the trend too much and just did it my way. I don't know which way is good for you, because you might have a successful way doing this, but you could have amazing successful way of being creative. It's up to you, but you have to listen to yourself and believe in it, what's best for you. You know what I mean? You can listen to people, but it's inside. In the last, it's still you have only what you have. So you have to listen to your feeling in the end. Are you a really creative person? Let's ask yourself, because they told me before, like, Ryoji, if you just do in a creative way, you're gonna get stuck one day and it's very difficult way. Maybe you shouldn't do this. They told me something like that, but I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very good.
So I guess it's you have to speak to yourself and decide, but you can still do both. You can still listen to people and just do, because you cannot just not listen to people and just do hair like whenever you want. It doesn't work like that. So you have for me, I guess what I can give it best advice is, of course, you have to follow the trend and do right job, and most important work, editorial, whenever you have to, of course, listen to it, but still have a little bit of feeling on your side and just try to test a little bit. Do you like this a little bit? This is what I think, or even show it to the picture. Okay, I have this feeling I make. Do you like? Then if you like, oh, it's great. Then do it. But you know what I mean? So you have to have something. You have to give. You have to have your jaw ready. You know what I mean? When you go to job, so you don't only listen to and okay, I don't know what to do. No, it's not it's not that. You have to listen to it, but still there's a point. Maybe this is not working. Okay, why don't you do? Well, I have this. Do you want this? Do you want this? So you have a other idea on the side. So this is what I can tell to the young people.
Very good.
So have some backup. Have some idea ready before you go other job. I guess that's the only thing you can do. Yeah.
We had spent a whole day together filming in Dublin, which was extraordinary time for me actually to get you over. Explain to everybody what you actually did in these classes.
Yeah, sure. So the first one was the sewing technique, which is like I'm into it now, and I just want to show like not just the dolls. I could do the the sewing thing. So I think it's very interesting way to do like a different way of doing hair texture, and also when you do sewing thing, you can have a different you have a second look, not just the look you made first. You have a transformation, like a second version. It's like a bugs going to butterfly. I don't know how to say in English. I forgot.
A caterpillar.
Metamorphose. Yeah. Metamorphose. It's just that's just the kind of thing of the thing you can have with the hair. It takes a lot of time. You have to spend a lot of time, but I think this has a opportunity to open the many different styles. So I'm very happy to show a little bit of part of invention I made.
I think you're right.
Sewing technique.
An amazing starting point for so much more things to come from that. Exactly.
Yeah.
People could take the technique and really transform it again.
Yeah,
Understated
exactly.
or
Yeah,
overstated,
they can go.
you know. And then the second class that you did with us as well in the afternoon was a technique that you developed, wasn't it?
Escargot knot. And this one is, I wanted to do like a, Eugene has a braid, stuff like that, like a best braider, stuff like that. I wanted to have different than that just a braid. So that's how I thought about it. What can I do to do like a braid way, but different? And that's how I thought about that. And this is also, you can go further in a different way as well.
Amazing. But
Yeah.
you need two people to do that technique, don't you?
Yeah,
It's
it's
job.
absolutely two-person's job. But you know, when you get to go beyond, you two hand is not enough. It's many time I all the creation I think about is I cannot do with by myself. I have a way of idea. Okay, I want to do this perfectly. I just always need the other two hand. Even more hand I have, the better I can do. It's not good for hair salon idea, but if we want to do a creative, you really need to have other than two hand. I wish I have four hand.
Yeah. You know, to work in a salon or a salon hairstylist, wanting to work on creations such as what you're talking about, what we're talking about, and it's one of the reasons why we showcased your work on Hairdressing Live. I think it allows any hairdresser the ability to rethink about what they do and challenge themselves in many ways, because it really inspires you and pushes you to a different creative level. So I do recommend, even if you feel that you're not that creative, it allows you to look behind that door and find out what you can achieve. And I think even using the techniques,
absolutely, you never know.
You don't know what's on the other side, and sometimes you start with a vision,
exactly,
and then something else comes from that. And it's like finding a little pot of gold. You're like, oh wow, I didn't know that was. But you have to start working on something. In order to find what's behind that door.
It's very important. You are curious about new thing, and want to know, because even me, like, I'm curious again. Like, and I want to know what can I do different. You know, you always search for what can I do more than what I know. You know, you are hungry for new thing, like new technique. What's new for me? You know what I mean? So if I can have any other new technique, new tools, what I can do more, that just opens up other thing for me. So it's, as you say, it's very important to see what you don't imagine. So you can have more than, if you just don't watch and not interested, you just stuck what you have. That's all. You have all that and you don't move anymore. But that's what you don't want to become like that, you know. So what you say, I agree. Like you have to be always curious. Hairdresser should be always curious about new things. Even how big you become, how famous you become, you have to be interested on many other things, because you can never know what you can have next. Or being curious.
That's a great way to finish this, because it's very good way. Look, Ryoji, it's been an absolute pleasure working with you and collaborating with you on this.
It was a pleasure to work with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Me too. I can't wait.
And
You're very welcome.
I'm excited for these classes going live for everybody on Hairdressing Live. So for those of you, you can subscribe to Hairdressing Live and watch Ryoji's classes. Thank you again, Ryoji.
Thank you for me. Thank you for you.